Hey, folks, I have got some great news for us content creators out there, and maybe even some of y'all. I have noticed something before I get into this story that YouTube has been doing a lot of tapping down on the comment section. If you had comments taken down recently, or even been spanked on YouTube to where your comments are not allowed for a day or a week, that they are actually spanking people over some of the things that are said in comment section. So please be aware of that, and don't freak out if your comments don't work. On when I actually make videos, I have to go to every time and manually put in allow all comments. Otherwise, they decide they're going to judge my comments for me. Just the way they set that up. But let's get back to what I want to talk about. Now, everybody knows how YouTube has treated me and all the other content creators over here on this platform in the past. There are several people that have just been nuked, including my previous channel, behind talking about elections and things because of the hearsay, the things that are just so controversial that places like YouTube were terrified of because of the fact of the crazy calculator company and the lawsuits and just the possibility that people want to overthrow the country behind the fact that they don't think they got a square deal way back when. Now, that's just my own way of putting it, but I'm going to go ahead and get into this article. But YouTube basically says they're reversing course on election misinformation slash disinformation censorship policies. Now, let's see if we can figure out why. I'm going to guess it has something to do with the fact when 2024 happens, and this stuff starts all over again, but probably in the opposite direction. They're going to start saying, well, Russia may have interfered. We've all heard that one before. And see, that will be 100% allowed. And so I'm guessing they're having to dial back their policies so it can actually work in the other direction now to their benefit. That's my guess. Now it says YouTube has reversed course on election misinformation on the platform since December 2020. The Google subsidiary, has thoroughly censored what they deem misinformation, and the parent company is called Alphabet, and they definitely have been doing some super censoring, giving strikes, demonetizing, and nuking channels behind things they didn't find appropriate. We all know how they treat us over here. It says, but hopefully that's changing. Maybe they grew a conscience. I doubt it. We first instituted a provision of our election misinformation policy focused on the integrity of past U.S. presidential elections in December 2020 once the state's safe harbor date of certification had passed. 2 years, tens of thousands of video removals, and one election cycle later, we recognized it was time to reevaluate the effects of the policy in today's changed landscape. So all of a sudden they're like, well, we got a different playing field in 2024 coming up, so we got to reevaluate how we handle, I guess, out and out censorship on the next one. It says in the current environment, we find that while removing this content does curb some misinformation, it could also have an unintended effect of curtailing political speech, meaning censoring it, without meaningful reducing of the risk of violence or other real world harm, meaning that they, at this point, can't prove the censorship is doing anything to prevent any violence, because that was the original reason they didn't want to talk about it, for fear of lawsuits, for fear of people were going to uprise against the situation, against the bodies of power that be. It says, with that in mind, and with 2024 campaigns well underway, we will stop removing content that advances false claims that widespread fraud, errors, or glitches occurred in the 2020 and other past presidential elections. This goes into effect today, Friday, June 2nd. As they update to our policies, we carefully deliberate this change. This blog announcement elaborates that certain policies will remain in place. All our election misinformation policies remain in place, including those that disallow content aiming to mislead voters about time, place, means, eligibility, and requirements for voting. Meaning, yeah, if you try to do something nefarious to trick somebody into thinking they're voting, or to lie to somebody about what time the voting hours are, or anything that would actually interfere in the process, you could actually legally be held accountable for that, and so they don't want to be a part of that. And I don't blame them. It just seems like a safe policy to me. It says, as a result of the censorship operation, alternative platforms such as Rumble have exploded under the banner of free speech, and it is unclear what, if any, impact the shift had on their decision to reverse course. They're probably losing business at this point. I would have to say so, considering they keep nuking people and they end up over on Rumble or Twitter or somewhere else. Plus, YouTube's got a lot of competition today. They've got a competition from Twitter and Truth more than they've ever had before. It says the Gateway Pundit has been involved in several cases regarding censorship on social media platforms after being mentioned numerous times as a purveyor of mis or disinformation in the Election Integrity Partnership, the Long Fuse report. The EIP has been tied to organizations that contradicted the government entities to flag certain claims online and to report them to social media platforms via third-party NGO, telling on them basically. The Gateway Pundit's Brian Lupo, otherwise known as CanCon, was banned from YouTube in June of 2021 after a hit piece from Media Matters made claims against several channels that were covering the 2020 Arizona audit in Maricopa County. And I remember that distinctly. I was listening to Nick Mulceder and CanCon and Doug TeNapel and Behizzy and Julie Green and Q out of the darkness. There was about a dozen people that were really hitting it hard on trying to get the information out about the elections, and every one of them over a George Soros funded Media Matters hit piece uh, got basically called out by the Media Matters hit piece. Next thing you know, YouTube took every one of them down, including CanCon, who is over on Twitter and on Rumble as well. Still got a great channel, still still in the fight, and he actually now is in collaboration with Gateway Pundit. Good job for him. Glad to see it. Now, there is a little more information about this. Let me go ahead and see what CanCon had to say on his blog about it. It says, an update on our approach to U.S. election misinformation. Today, we are announcing a new set of updates on YouTube to address and protect our community, providing a home for open discussion and debate during an ongoing election season. Now, my question is, will they ban Robert F. Kennedy? Because Robert F. Kennedy has already been banned on, I believe it was Instagram earlier today, and CNN is trying to prevent him from coming on there. And Newsmax actually put him in a loop earlier today on what was supposed to be a live feed, meaning they cut him off. Robert F. Kennedy, even though he's a Democrat, he don't sound like a Democrat. He sounds like somebody trying to tell the truth about way too many things for the media to handle, and that's a fact. We craft our own policies. We always keep two goals in mind: protecting our community and providing a home for open discussion and debate. Now, this is YouTube's basically storyline. These goals are sometimes in tensions with each other, and there is perhaps no area for striking a balance which is more complex than political speech. The ability to openly debate political ideas, even those that are controversial based on a disproven assumption, is core to a functioning democratic society. No crap. Especially in the midst of an election season. How about year round? 365 days a year, every day, every year. Why just this year? Why just during election season? That's my point. My point is they shouldn't have certain times that they squish information or elevate information. It should be flowing the same every day without the extra tampering down, shadow banning crap that goes on. It says we first instituted a provision on our election misinformation policy focused on the integrity of past U.S. presidential election. In December of 2020, once the state safe harbor date certification had passed, 2 years, 10,000, 2 years, tens of thousands of video removals One cycle or election cycle later, they recognized that they had to reevaluate their situation. And let's see here. There was one more thing. It says the rest of our policies continue to apply to everyone on YouTube for all types of content, including elections. This includes policies against hate speech, harassment, incitement, and violence. As long as you don't try to trick people about their actual voting, and as long as you are not harassing people, which is an easy one to fall into over here on YouTube, especially with videos of like things like Biden bumping his head today. If you make the video a little too graphic, that's harassment or incitement of violence. So they got you there on that one. But at any rate, it says we know citizens take the integrity of the democratic process incredibly seriously. Yeah, you know, people are serious about elections, of course, and so do we. Well, we'll remain vigilant as the elections unfold, as we did in 2020 and again in 2022. We have an election-focused team, including members of our intelligence desk, trust, and safety to protect teams monitoring real-time development and making adjustments to our strategy as needed. We'll have more details to share about the approach toward 2024 election in the months to come. Basically, they got people working on it day and night at all times, and rules are subject to change at any time without further notice. And that is the facts of the matter, folks. I don't trust it. I don't like it. I think there's ulterior motive. I don't think YouTube all of a sudden decided they needed to grow a conscience. I don't really even know if it was a lawsuit. I think what it is they want to be able to pretend like they're now being fair when these accusations, my guess, these accusations start coming from election interference, foreign election interference. If that becomes the catchphrase for the Democrats in the next couple of months, I called it first. Like, subscribe, and share, Devoted Patriots. Everybody have a great Friday evening. Everybody be safe. Enjoy. Over and out.